Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing? I'm good. Yeah, definitely good. Thanks, man. So wait, what? Nintendo's coming out with a new 3DS XL? Didn't they just come out with a 3DS a little over a year ago anyway? So what's the major difference between this one and the original 3DS? It's 90% larger. Huh. I don't know. I don't know if I get one or not. Maybe. Maybe. A 3DS is a cool system. But I don't know if it's worth it. Okay. Well, thanks for the call, man. Thanks for the update. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. Okay. All right. Take care. Bye. Huh. Wonder what it'd be like if other things were 90% larger. Holy sh! Hey guys, what's going on? This is John with Gamester81.com, and in this episode I'll be reviewing the brand new Nintendo 3DS XL handheld. This came out recently, retails for $200 US. The other first version of the 3DS retails for currently $169 US, or roughly $170 US. So the ultimate question is this handheld worth it? Is it worth paying the extra $30 for the extra large version of the 3DS? Especially if you already own the first model of the 3DS. So I'm going to do my best to do an unbiased review if possible over this handheld. Let's take a closer look. So here it is. This is the box that it comes in, their initial retail box. It comes in two current colors. It comes in this blue. It also comes in a red. I imagine like Nintendo, they'll probably release other colors and limited edition colors that they've done in the past with various other handhelds that they've produced. Top left corner states here 90% bigger. It shows you the comparison of the original 3DS to the 3DS XL. I will show you a comparison between the two later on. Also later in this review, I will show you a comparison to the Sony Ps Vita to show you the size comparison. The 3D mode is recommended for 7+. So I guess if you're under 7 years old, I guess the 3D isn't necessarily good for the eyes, although I'm not sure if that's necessarily the case, but I guess they do that for lawsuit reasons, all that good stuff. It is in 3 different languages. It has English, Spanish, and French, so you got a whole bunch of different warnings, all in 3 different languages. On the top is nothing much. You got your barcode here, your scanner. This is a blue-black color. It stayed there on the bottom left there. What else we got here? On the back, it shows you again a size comparison, 3 different languages there with a new dimension in entertainment. As it states there, it talks about the different menu screen. This review isn't necessarily to go over the menu screen. I did a review over that on my initial review over the 3DS. If you guys are more curious about the applications that are included in the initial 3DS, it's the same as it is in the XL. I encourage you guys to watch that review. So this review is simply to show you the different size comparisons and the pros and cons of the 3DS XL compared to the 3DS, the original one. It is Wi-Fi compatible, which is nice. You got the Nintendo seal of quality, although now it just says official Nintendo seal. Notice that right there. So no longer, they took out the word quality, although Nintendo does make pretty quality product in my personal opinion. It's E for everyone as far as rating. Let's open this up and see what's inside. Okay, obviously it comes with a system. I would hope it would come with a system. If you got a box and you purchased it, didn't come with a system, then I'd be very upset. I'll do a review of the system here in a second, show you the dimensions. It comes with an AC adapter, which is very important. It runs off of lithium battery, so that's very important, so you can recharge your battery. This is the same standard AC adapter that works with other DS products, so it is compatible with the other 3DS, which is important. I believe it's also compatible with the DS. So it's a universal adapter, which is nice and handy. Comes with some AR cards, which are augmented reality cards. AR is short for augmented reality. This does have the capability of putting through the camera, kind of putting a false image in the camera to put it into a real situation through the camera. Again, I did a review over these cards on the previous 3DS review, so if you guys are curious on how those work. Other games and promotions have come with AR cards, so you can collect them, so I guess they're kind of a collector's item as well, which is neat. Here's some more instructions, all in 3 different languages, make it more universal. Nintendo Club, you can join the Nintendo Club. They offer a whole bunch of different prizes and all that good stuff. Here is the instruction manual. Again, the reason it's so thick is because it's in 3 different languages. So here's the handheld itself. First thing I noticed when I took the 3DS XL out of the box was the nice matte look to it, the nice matte finish to it. The original 3DS had a glossy finish to it, and still does. Reflective. I actually prefer the matte look to it. That's my personal preference. It's actually for handhelds. It's actually pretty heavy for handheld standards. It's 11.9 ounces or 336 grams. It's heavier than the original DS XL, which is 11.1 ounces or 314 grams. So it's slightly heavier than the original DS XL. As far as height goes, when it's closed, it's 0.87 inches high or 22 millimeters. Depth when it's closed, also it's 3.7 inches high depth-wise, or 93 millimeters. When it's open, it's approximately double that. As far as width goes, it's 6.1 inches wide, or 156 millimeters wide. So it's a pretty wide system. So it's 90%, as advertised, is 9% larger than the 3DS, the original 3DS. Let's open this thing up. Now notice right away it has two cameras built in. It has a back and front camera. Both cameras are 0.3 megapixels cameras, so they're nothing too special. You can get a lot better quality on your smartphone or any smartphone device or tablet device. But when you open it up, you see one camera lens here, which is the front camera, and the back camera is actually in 3D, which is nice. So if you're looking to take 3D camera or 3D video, you are able to do that with the 3DS XL. Just like the original 3DS, there's no light or anything like that, no flash. All right, and it does have internal storage, which is nice. It has extendable storage as well with an SD card. So it does come with a 4 gig SD card, where the original 3DS only came with a 2 gig SD card. Notice the directional pad only has one directional pad, which is a huge letdown. They could have easily put one there. You have to purchase a Circle Pad Pro Pad, what do they call it, attachment for this separately, just like you had to do for the original 3DS. I'm not sure if it was part of the development plan, to be honest with you. I think Nintendo could have easily incorporated a second analog stick here, but perhaps it was long too far in the works where they just decided to release now. There has not to my knowledge, there hasn't been a date release as far as announced yet, as far as when they plan on releasing the Circle Pad Pro for the 3DS XL, but it's going to make it obviously significantly wider. It will make it significantly heavier. So I think that's a huge downfall or con when it comes to this particular handheld. One thing I do like about the 3DS XL though is the screen. It has a nice 4.88 inch screen, which it's a 3D screen. It looks really clear. A lot of rumors were that because it's larger than the original 3DS, the 3D isn't good. I can tell you from playing games, the 3D is fine. You still have to look at it on a certain angle. Otherwise, if you look at a wrong angle, it doesn't necessarily work as well. It gets kind of blurry. But I do like the size of the screen. It's even bigger than the original DS XL screen. That's nice. I do also like the big improvements with the button layouts here. You still have your start, your home, and your select. This time they separated the buttons. So they're easier to click. I wasn't a huge fan of how they pushed before. They're like a membrane buttons here before. You have your power button. These buttons are exactly A, B, and X, Y buttons are approximately the same size. So is the directional pad as the original 3DS. On the front, you have, this is where your headphones plug into. Notice it did not come with any headphones. This is your power indicator light, also your charging indicator light. Here is your Wi-Fi. You can switch on and off. Your stylus is now on the side here, and it comes out, and its stylus is about the same length as the other stylus, but doesn't extend out like the other stylus did for the original 3DS. One thing also that's a little bit different as far as that goes, your SD card actually fits in this slot right here. On the other side, this is your volume. Another thing I don't like about the 3DS XL is the volume isn't very loud. I'll demonstrate that here in a second, but even with headphones plugged in, the volume isn't very loud. I feel like Nintendo could have done a better job with the volume. Let me compare this with the original 3DS size-wise. Now size-wise, you can obviously tell that the 3DS XL, hence its name, is significantly bigger than the original 3DS. Both have the same features though. Both, as far as screen goes, 800 by 240 megapixels, so you got both left and right eye will display 400 or 120 megapixels to combine for 800 by 240 megapixels. 32-bit color, both obviously play the same type of games. Both are backwards compatible as far as they'll play original DS games. They aren't backwards compatible as far as playing any Game Boy Advance games or anything like that. Both have 0.3 megapixel cameras. The 3DS original comes with a 2 gig memory card, as I mentioned before. The new one comes with a 4 gig memory card, so you know, I guess you pay a little extra 50 extra bucks to get 2 gigs extra memory, which is, I guess, is nice. Plus, let's open this up. Now the screen itself is kind of glary, but you can see the screen itself is significantly bigger than the original 3DS, which is nice. This is what I was talking about before with the membrane buttons. I wasn't a huge fan of that. Another big selling point for me, another big pro, is the battery life. Now the battery life on the original 3DS will last anywhere between 3 to 5 hours on 3D gameplay. Now if you play on 2D, you can obviously have the option in both the two. You can adjust the 3D on both levers here. If you play on 2D, it's going to save your battery a little bit more. You can play anywhere from 5 to 8 hours. But that was a huge gripe about a lot of gamers felt like that wasn't long enough, because you take this on the road, especially used to playing on, you know, a DS, you can play up to 17 hours of gameplay. So that was a huge letdown. They did improve that with a bigger battery for the new 3DS XL. This battery now is anywhere from 3.6 hours to 6.5 hours, which is nice. So it's about roughly twice as far as gameplay goes for the battery than the 3DS, original 3DS. So depending, of course, how the 3D, how often you play in 3D. Some games look great in 3D, some games don't. I played, for example, the new Super Mario Brothers 2. Great game, highly recommend it, but the 3D on that, highly disappointed in my personal opinion. And one thing, another gripe about the games also was for the DS games that they played, the screen was kind of small. Well, obviously with a bigger screen, you can play DS games fine. It looks great on the system. They do cut it off a little bit. There's a little black border here when you're playing, because it doesn't fit the whole screen on the original DS games, but obviously with the 3DS games, it fills in the screen very, very nicely. Now I'm going to compare the 3DS XL to the Sony Ps Vita, I guess, which would be the biggest competitor to Nintendo for the handheld market, although Nintendo currently dominates the handheld market. One thing you'll notice is when it comes to the top screen for the 3DS and compare it to the size of the PS Vita, they're roughly very, very similar in size. This is a 5-inch screen, whereas in the 3DS XL is 4.88 inches. So still very, very similar in size comparison. Again, weight is also pretty similar. The PS Vita, although, is actually lighter than 3DS XL. The PS Vita only weighs 9.2 ounces, or 260 grams, where obviously before I mentioned before, the 3DS XL weighs 11.9 ounces. Now, as far as height goes, this is where it gets very, very close. Again, the Vita is 3.28 inches high, whereas the 3DS XL is 3.7 inches high. So the 3DS XL is a little bit higher than the PS Vita. One thing though that's different is the PS Vita is a little bit wider, as you'll notice here, than the 3DS XL. It is 7.2 inches wide, we're comparing it to 6.1 inches wide. So still fairly comparable. Overall, the PS Vita is lighter. The screen is a little bit bigger. Pros and cons about both. It kind of depends on what your personal gaming preference is, in my personal opinion. It just kind of depends what kind of games you're into. So in conclusion, is it worth picking up a 3DS XL? Well, to be honest with you, it kind of depends. If you don't already own a 3DS, then definitely it's worth dishing out for the XL model. It's 90% larger, the screen is nice, good size. It's a little heavy, but the battery life is definitely a lot better than the original 3DS. Now, I'm really disappointed Nintendo that they didn't include a second analog stick. I think that's really lame. So there's games that are on the 3DS right now that, to be honest with you, are a lot better to have the second analog stick. So to me, that's a bummer. Now, obviously, Nintendo's going to be coming out with an attachment to add the second analog stick to it, which will make it better. But you're going to have to dish out some extra money for that, and by that time, it's going to make this thing huge. So if you already have a 3DS, is it worth investing in for the XL model? That's just a personal decision, honestly. I probably still would do it just because it is a better system overall than the original 3DS, although you can still do a lot of the same features with the 3DS. And I find there's a lot of irony. I mean, the whole word, initially when systems first came out, they start big and they kind of get smaller. You get the slim models, where now with handhelds, they start small and tend to get bigger. So that's kind of funny. So I'd love to know your guys' thoughts about the 3DS XL. If you guys own one, what are your opinions of it? How's it compare to the PS Vita, guys? I'd really like to know your personal opinion about that. I personally think it just kind of depends on what kind of gamer you are. I think people have different interests. I like both. PS Vita is the system for me when I want to play like a hardcore game, shooter. 3DS is more for me when I want to play kind of a family-friendly game. Nintendo titles, all that good stuff. Well, that concludes my review over the Nintendo 3DS XL. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for commenting. I do read all my comments. And thank you for spreading the word. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.